Okay, everyone. So, since we are getting closer to the release of the newest chapter of the Boruto 2 Blue Vortex manga, this is usually when we start seeing promotion for the newest chapter. And we usually get that in the form of a page from the official chapter available to us on the official Naruto website. And we do have one right here. And that is what we are going to be discussing here in this video. Now, as always, guys, even though this is officially released by Shueisha themselves, so they are putting this out there as marketing for the newest chapter, as they have been doing for the past few months, or ever since Boruto 2 Blue Vortex has started, if I remember correctly. I am still going to warn you that this will, of course, contain a spoiler for the upcoming chapter. So if you want to go into this chapter completely clean, this is your chance to click off the video. So if you're still here, I'm just going to assume you are okay with spoilers, even though, again, this is technically officially put out by Shueisha themselves. I'm still, again, going to give you a warning. So this is your last warning. Again, if you want to go into this chapter completely clean, this is your chance to click off the video. So with that said out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about this page and what we have here. And this page, what it tells us is that this chapter is going to continue from where the previous chapter left off, which I think pretty much most of us expected was going to be the case. And what we have here is Jura officially arriving on the battlefield, which, based on everything Kashin Koji told us, this is absolutely what was going to happen. Kashin Koji kept warning Boruto, if you show up on the battlefield, that's when Jura is going to show up, and you are not going to survive. You are going to die. That's what Kashin Koji kept warning Boruto. But Boruto, of course, being who he is, couldn't just let someone die, especially someone that he cares about, even someone he doesn't really have that much of a relationship with. For example, with Yodo, Boruto, if he knew from the beginning that Kashin Koji was basically expecting her to die, he would have immediately gone to the battlefield, because Boruto is just the type of person who wants to save as many people as possible. That's just who he is. He's essentially a lot like Naruto in that way. You know, even if you're someone whom he doesn't really have that much of a connection to, he is still going to try and help you, because that's just who he is at his core. And when he heard about Konohamaru, of course, Boruto was going to immediately go to the battlefield, again, despite Kashin Koji's constant warnings that if he shows up, Jura will show up after him and Boruto is going to die. Every version of the future that he saw with 10 Directions told him that this was going to happen. And just like what Kashin Koji said, Jura does definitely show up on the battlefield, but he doesn't show up next to Boruto. That's the thing that we need to talk about here. Boruto is basically nowhere to be found here in this page, at least. Now, again, it is just one page, so obviously there's a lot of context that's missing. But just based on what we have right here, we see Jura popping out of one of the claw grimes that Ryu summoned into the battlefield, which that's another thing that should be taken into consideration, that all of the claw grimes that Ryu summoned are still there. So technically they are still in danger of being hurt by the claw grimes, even though Mitsuki is technically strong enough to handle them. You have to remember, Mitsuki is still in a way exhausted from his fight against Ryu. Aureya is essentially useless in this fight. Yodo is either dead or near death. Sarada has exhausted all of her chakra, so she's basically useless in this fight. So Mitsuki is essentially left on his own. And now, as if the claw grimes alone weren't already bad enough, now Jura shows up, which is essentially, basically it means that Mitsuki is kind of screwed here, because Mitsuki, for as strong as he is right now after the 3-year time skip, there's no way in hell he'll be able to do anything against Jura. And I've seen a lot of people theorize that maybe Jura is going to use Mitsuki as a hostage for Boruto. And honestly, I would not be surprised if that is the case, because even though Jura knows that he could kill Boruto if he wants to easily, and Kashin Koji even confirmed that to Shikamaru, that Jura is essentially a being that if he wanted to, he could destroy the planet and there's no one on Earth who could stop him. It's essentially why he stressed to Shikamaru that if Jura ever shows up in the Leaf Village, that you were to leave him alone and you were to order everyone, including civilians, to leave this guy alone, and no matter what, do not piss him off. And now Jura is here, and even though, again, he could take out Boruto if he wants to, it's it seems that he is basically going to try and essentially err on the side of caution and just take Mitsuki as a hostage, because he knows, based on what he's seen, that Boruto is the type of person who is going to try and save someone if he can, even if he knows that it is going to essentially put him in danger of being killed. So essentially he's going to take Mitsuki hostage, and that will keep Boruto from just teleporting from the battlefield. And that actually is, again, kind of smart, and it shows you that Jura is choosing to rely on using strategy instead of just doing what a lot of shonen antagonists have basically done in the past, where they go into a fight completely confident that they're going to win, and it usually ends up biting them in the ass. So Jura essentially choosing to do the smart thing and using a hostage to keep Boruto from fleeing, and instead of him just going to Boruto, he's instead choosing to do the smart thing and using a hostage against Boruto, using Boruto's weakness against him. Now, again, obviously this is all just speculation. It's not, essentially confirmed that this is what Jura is going to do. But again, we will find out when the chapter officially gets released, which I think this chapter is supposed to come out on the 20th or the 21st. Either way, the official chapter review will hopefully either be out on the day that the chapter gets released or maybe a couple of days after. I'll try to release it not long after the official chapter gets released. And of course, depending on when we get spoilers for this video, it will depend on whether or not we get spoilers for this chapter, is what I'm trying to say. It will depend on whether or not I do a video covering the spoilers, because if we get the spoilers literally a day before the chapter officially gets released, then there's no need to make a video, because I can just, wait for the chapter that comes out, and I could just make a video recording my thoughts on, the chapter itself. So with that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of what we're seeing here? Do you think that Jura is going to use Mitsuki as a hostage, or do you think that he just conveniently happened to show up where Mitsuki happens to be because that's where one of the claw grimes are, and maybe he couldn't show up next to Boruto because Matsuri was essentially hacked to pieces and there were no claw grimes or even claw marks for Jura to use? So whatever your thoughts are, guys, let me know about them in the comment section down below. And while you're here, guys, I really would appreciate it if you were to leave a like, share this video out there, hit the subscribe button if you're new, ring the bell for notifications, and I hope I'll see you guys for my next video, which is either going to be covering the second page that is going to be used to officially promote this chapter on the official Naruto website, or maybe it's going to be the spoiler video, again, depending on when it's released, or it could just be the official chapter review. Either way, I will see you for my next video. Bye for now.